Welcome to the Real Estate Power Play Podcast, your launch pad for skyrocketing success in real estate investing. I'm your host, Gabe Rodarte, alongside Mark Monroe. We're ready to bring you transformative stories, groundbreaking strategies, and the insider secrets of real estate giants. Get ready to accelerate your investment journey and become a true power player in the world of real estate.
Hello, guys. How's everybody doing? Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Power Play, seller financing strategies, seller financing homes, whatever you want to call it. Well, actually, we should be calling it seller financing notes. That's mainly what we're really going to be talking about today, and I'm super excited. Nathan, I'm always enjoy having you on, and I'm always
Yeah,
enjoy what today's topic's going to be, and about your conference coming up, and the notes, and what's going to be taking place this year. And how you doing, Nathan?
Really good. Really good. Always good to talk to you as well. So glad to be here.
Good. And you look a little toasty. Look at you all dressed up and nice and warm and a sweater on up there in Canada right now.
It's still winter enough. It's chilly
Is it?
enough. I could probably go out and go for a walk, but you know, chilly enough that I like to just put the sweater on, be cozy.
I didn't make it over. I was up in Canada last summer and I didn't make it over to the Rocky side. We went from Seattle, Vancouver over to, I'm trying to remember the lake. It was in British Columbia. It started
Okay.
with a K, like a KO something, like almost like a
Oh
Indian name. There's a
gosh.
lot of wine vineyards there,
Oh yeah.
and it's
Okay.
about 3 hours from, is it Mammoth? Am I saying that correctly? What's that area called? The one national park that you guys have up there. It's supposed to be stunning.
Oh, Banff is the big one.
Yes, it was 3 hours from there,
Okay. Okay.
west.
All
So,
right.
anyways,
Oh man.
Kahlua, something like that.
Kelowna?
Population, but yes, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually where I was born.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah,
Beautiful.
my dad
Really.
is from there. Yeah, so he was it was kind of a quick stopover actually. They were in between uh living in Alberta and then heading off to school and stopped at my grandparents for a month or two and that's where I happened to be born. So I never lived there, but that's where I was born.
Do you ever go back often?
We did for a long time. My grandparents both passed away a few years back, but gorgeous area. My uncle still
Yes.
lives out there in Penticton. And I mean, fruit basket of Canada. You go out there and you can find anything you want, like any kind of fruit that just grows fresh and pick it off the tree. I mean, nothing better.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Actually, I connected with a real estate guy out there. It's
Oh
kind of
yeah.
bizarre. Yeah, he does developments out there. And actually my other half's friend, my other half they work together, and we used to go up and visit her in Vancouver, but she works for the government with immigration, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's funny, but yeah, she helps people with immigration. But it was great. The food is phenomenal, great place, and did a lot
Yeah.
of water skiing, a lot of vineyards, and all
Yeah.
that. So, anyways, let's
Yeah.
talk about like your conference coming up. What are the dates going to be this year?
Yeah. Coming up May 1st and 2nd, back in Nashville again, same hotels we've been the last 3 years. And yeah, super excited. We've got all kinds of really cool things happening and good discussions. I'm hoping to get more of kind of your crowd, the people who are creating the notes, the people who are doing the seller finance. I've kind of had the comment from some people that I don't know that the people who are creating notes understand the value that there is in attending this kind of a conference, and that really shocks me to tell you the truth because I can't think of a better place for you to be.
It's
Just
true.
in learning from other people who are doing it and getting together, trading strategies. That's all besides this possible exit of selling the note. And if that's something you want to do, awesome. If it's not, that's fine too. But this is a place to be to just connect with other people who are doing what you're doing.
I kind of, to be frank though, I kind of like it that the people you need them to come, but I like it because there's not that many of them there, so I get like everything kind of coming at me that I want to pick and choose from. But people, but you know, a lot of these guys they don't. And the event's not expensive at all. A lot of times
No.
people think, oh, the seller financing notes is going to be expensive because some of these other ones, but it's not. I mean, you have the ones where they always, you got the one guru that goes around the country and everybody wants to go flock to that.
Yeah.
the subject to world, but that's totally changing.
Yeah.
But once subject to is great to learn, but the seller financing, if you understand it correctly, it opens the door to so many other properties where you don't have
Yeah.
to do subject to. You can
No,
do things the
exactly.
right way and make it easier and make more money off of it. Besides making money on the front end originating, you have another whole industry where you can sell that note and create passive
Exactly.
income also if you want to create a first and second. There's so many different ways of going about this. But so talk a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Like what they expect.
Yeah. Oh man. So just real quick on that first and second one, like that's a strategy that I don't know a lot of people have really um, grasped. So you go out, just easy numbers, sell a house for $100,000, you get a $10,000 down payment. Let's say you bought this for, I don't know, 50, 60,000, whatever. You sold it, you got your down payment, you create a first and a second. So a first for, call it 70,000, and then you've got a second for the other 20,000. You can sell off that first, recoup all the money that you invested in it, plus you've already got that down payment. So you're already ahead. And then you're hanging on to that second for long-term cash flow that you're zero money into it. So it's literally free money for as long as that note exists.
Piggyback off of that, right? What
Mhm.
these guys are doing out there in the subject to world, they're overpaying of what the value of that asset is
Yeah.
versus in this strategy you're underpaying and you're
Yeah.
getting equity into the deal, so you're making, besides that, you're making so much more in the spread, and
Yeah.
they don't understand that. So
Yeah.
it's another whole world that they should understand, and you should
Yeah.
probably actually, as we talk about it a little bit more, you might want to, if we get enough people, you might want to maybe have somebody talk about that. Maybe Dan, he's really Dan. He loves
Dan
talking about that
Deppen.
strategy.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
somebody,
Or Dan
or
Diaz.
even
Yeah.
myself, somebody there to educate people that are listening to this that are originating, that don't know how to about selling, and just come. If you don't know about this, that's why you want to come to this event to learn
Right.
these things.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's for a while, especially before COVID, I was kind of getting burnt out. I go to a lot of conferences, and because it's essential in our business that, and you know this as well as anybody else, it's all about the relationships. It's all about the people you know, the people you meet. That's what helps boost your business from nothing to multi-million. So it really does matter. But that being said, I was getting tired. I was doing a lot of travel and going here and there and everything. And I remember saying to my wife, it was a couple of years before COVID, a year before COVID or something, and I thought, there's another conference coming up, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't know if I want to go. I'm just then I gotta I do this, and then I stay at the hotel, and I come home, and I don't know. And then she reminded me, she's like, but the thing is, every time you go, every single time, you come home and you say, hey, I met this one person, or hey, I learned this one thing, or whatever. And she's like, and every single time it creates a boost for a business. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Okay, fine.
I'm, I, I'm in that moment right now. Like
Yeah.
for the last 5 to 6 months, I've been
Hmm.
invited to speak at different events, and actually I have one next week, and I turned it down. It's just I get
Yeah.
you go, but at the same time, I don't mind being home in Florida this time of year. It's beautiful, but in the
Yeah.
summer and the spring, yeah, I'm definitely out there traveling and going to these events. But I
Yeah.
agree with you 100% on that. Let me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear my phone, but I got the
No.
stupid stuff going off in the background. Good. So let me just pause that. I forgot about it. But that's just one strategy in the seller financing space that
That's
you
just
can
one.
learn from, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So something we're doing this year that I think is going to be really interesting, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, is we're calling it head to head. So we're taking like two, I'll call them opposing. They may not necessarily be opposing strategies, but two different strategies and kind of pitting them against each other. So our sessions are 45 minutes, and then we'll have one presenter talk for 20 minutes about the thing that, for example, land notes, about why you would do notes on land, why you'd sell or finance them, why you would sell them, everything around land notes. And then we'll have another 20 minutes, somebody else coming up talking about residential and why residential really is the best thing. And so that's just one example. We've got one where AI versus VAs. We've got performing loans, non-performing loans, and just different strategies, different things to kind of head against each other. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I think that's going to be really informative. Excuse me. At the same time, where people are really going to be able to learn a lot because the person speaking is they're not selling anything, but they're up there saying this is the best strategy and here's why. And then the next person is going to come up and almost opposite and say, well, here's the best strategy and here's why. And I think that's going to create a lot of opportunity for the audience to pick through and be like, well, I like those things that that person said, and I like those things that that person said. So, and then pick either one or a combination of both, and figure out what you want to do as a strategy going forward.
You said something. I don't do land. Well, actually,
Mhm.
I just closed on 4 lots. That's so funny. I say I don't really don't land, but yeah,
Yeah,
we just closed on 4 lots and we're putting manufactured homes on to help with the affordability. I
yeah,
want to go through it because then eventually I might be selling these off on seller financing notes on it.
yeah.
So, but anyways, my buddy, a good friend of mine, I cycle with. We became friends because here in South Florida on Fridays at 11, a group of us get together in the wintertime and meet for coffee on a
Oh,
Friday
good.
morning. But he went out there and purchased. He took $1.2 million and went
Okay.
out there and bought between 200 to 300 notes, and he bought
Okay.
them at 45 cents on the dollar. He's controlling $3 million of notes now, and it
Nice.
blows my mind away. And he's collecting
Yeah.
$53,000 a month off of, and look at the leverage he got on that thing.
Yeah.
$53,000 a month, and he's generating coming in off
Yeah.
of that. So it's
Nothing
just
wrong with that.
mind blowing. He just went into it, started buying notes, and buying them
Yeah.
like 45 cents on the dollar. It's just I'm just like I'm kind of like I remember before he's should I do this? We're all sitting there for breakfast one day, and he was like, or do I go and do a fix and flip? Or do I do
Uh-huh.
put my money into this and do a couple more fix and flips? And
Yeah.
because he got beat up being a tired landlord, and he bought in a war zone. He didn't really, being a landlord, if you will, and he's just and now. I remember having that conversation, me and a couple other guys, and we're like, yeah, you should do this. And now it's like, wow, he's
Yeah.
just loving life. And he just bought a brand new condo to rehab using the money coming in off of that
That's
on the
awesome.
inter
And
on
that
the
actually, that's
intercoastal.
another one. Another one we're doing is creating notes versus buying existing notes. So we want to talk, specifically talking about the people who are creating notes and why that's the better strategy than purchasing existing notes. And we'll have that person talking about the opposite. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. That's just part of what we're doing. We've got one session actually that I'm really excited about is we're going to take, we're going to go back to the note purchasing side and say, okay, we're going to put up on the screen 4 or 5, depending on time, live notes that are like actually available for sale right now. And we'll have some experts on the panel and we're going to price out the notes. And so I think this will be an opportunity again for those who are creating notes to see what note buyers are looking for and why. So we'll go through and we'll say, okay, so origination date was here. Here's what the down payment was. Here's the equity amount, and go through and we'll look at all the details on that particular note. And at the end of it, what I'm hoping will happen is whoever's on the panel or somebody in the audience be like, you know what, I'll buy that. Here's what I'll pay for it. The sellers I've talked to, they're going to actually bring the paperwork so that they're ready to do the deal right then and there. You can walk away with a note at the conference. So that I think
That's
that's going to be a
awesome.
lot of fun as well.
That's awesome. So, let's talk a little bit about, people that now are listening and, the people doing the subject to or the lease options. Like, why should they do a note? Let's kind of back up a little bit and talk a little bit about that because,
Sure.
a lot of these people are not even aware that they could originate the note themselves and sell the note. So, and
Yeah.
I know you used to be on the other side, like where most of these
Yeah.
people are, and then you converted over. So, why don't you talk a little bit about that so people that are not familiar with this?
So why use seller financing as a strategy? Is that the idea?
Yeah, exactly. And how and notes, why buy and sell notes and
Yeah.
originating. I know most of the people here originating, but I
Yeah.
see a lot of people like such as yourself, they are out there doing the hustle grind and buying
Yeah.
properties and rehabbing them and doing the seller financing notes. And then they get into doing buying and selling notes.
Yeah. 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 So first of all, why do a seller finance strategy? And I've done it a lot. And more often than not, I've done it as just a strategy all by itself. So for no other reason than just that's what I'm going to do. Um, I buy a house, I was able to acquire it for cheap, sell it for, X amount equity spread in there. So I've worked in an equity spread. I collect a down payment, and then you can sell it on terms for a number of different reasons. Let's say that it's just in an area that's a little bit more difficult to sell for whatever reason, a rough area. I call it it's a weird layout on a house. I've had that before where people come and they're like, I don't know. So on MLS, it's not doing very well. Then you go, okay, well, let's do seller financing. I think we've talked about this before, but you offer for seller finance every time. I don't think I've ever had a situation where I've offered it for seller financing and it didn't go. And then it's just a matter of working out the terms, and then you can figure out who your buyer is at that point.
The buyer pool opens up dramatically when you
Huge.
start be able to, because they don't have to go through your traditional bank or lender, jumping through
Yeah.
guidelines, appraisal issues, this or that, and might be
Yeah.
even so it just makes it so much easier.
hmm And then so carry along, you're carrying this note now, you're collecting the payments. It's an excellent strategy to just hang on to that note forever. And at some point, it's going to pay off because they're going to move or they've had some life event. Now they want to pay you off. They decide they can get a better rate at the bank. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons why they would decide to go ahead and pay you out, which is a great problem to have. Now you've got this lump sum of cash again, and you got to go back and place it somewhere else. That's an excellent problem to have. And it creates, the sooner they pay you off, the more your return actually goes higher, the faster you get your money back. So that works.
Yep. So something I want to piggyback off of there, like how
Yeah.
you're saying, holding the note. For if you never done this before on a note and you never own a note and structure it, jump online right now and or even grab a calculator and do an amortization schedule. Grab like do 100 do a $200,000 note, do it like at 9% and
hmm
amortize that at 30 years and look at how much and if you do like a 10-year balloon, look how
Yeah.
much money you will collect in 10 years and look what your payoff would be. Just
Yeah.
just do that as an exercise right now and you'll see the difference besides making money off the real estate, how you can make money off of being the note.
Yeah. 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 It builds and builds and builds. So instead of collecting that $200,000 over the next 10 years, I don't know what the number is, but it's going to be a lot more than $200,000 that you're collecting at that point.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick example. I had a seller, this was in North Carolina. They were open to seller financing, but
hmm
they wanted to be paid off in 3 years with a 3-year balloon. And the market was coming down, and I didn't feel comfortable, at a 3-year balloon because they didn't have a lot of equity. So I was paying closer to top dollar for that. I'm okay paying closer to top dollar as long as they're willing to give me terms.
Yeah.
So what I did is I used the calculator IB2 and it does an amortization schedule. I emailed it over to them. I said, hey, do me a favor, pull up that document because a lot of times sellers, when they see the document, they get it. If you're just saying it over the phone, it just goes in one ear and out the
Right.
other.
Yeah.
So I sent a PDF document over. I said, here's the finance terms I'm going to pay that I'll pay you. Here's your interest rate. This is how much money I'm going to pay you. Do me a favor, go down to line 120. How much money
hmm
would you have collected during that time period? They gave me the amount. And then here's your payoff over to the right. How much to that? And then, so what's the difference? They're making an extra $147,000 becoming the bank
Yeah.
over the term. So, and think about that. That's
Yeah.
so they, instead of just doing 3 years, they're like, okay, we'll do it for 10 years because they can diversify instead of
Yeah.
having the money all tied into the market. I mean, look at the stock market today.
Yeah. Exactly.
Did
Exactly.
you see it what today it was? It
I
was,
haven't, but
oh
I
man,
heard
I
some
gotta
chatter
tell you.
about that. It's not been
Let's
good.
see. I haven't looked at it in a while. It is, oh, it's come back. Wow. It was down over 1,000 points. Now it's down 300.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I just know
Yeah.
I
It's,
went up
it's
to fill up my car with gas this morning and I just saw the prices of gas and went, oh, okay, right. That.
that's a lot of price gouging because it doesn't affect it that quickly at the
No, it
pumps,
doesn't, but
you know, just
they'll
like
take advantage. I get
stores.
it.
Yeah. But
But so
anyway, so
let's keep it going. So let's say you're hanging on to this note, you've been collecting payments, and then now all of a sudden you have an opportunity to buy another property, or you've got an opportunity to, I don't know, some other kind of investment, or you want to take a vacation, or you need to send a kid off to college, or there's something that comes up where you need cash. So that's when you come and you find somebody like me and you say, okay, hey, how much would you pay me? Here's the balance, here's the interest rate, here's what the monthly payment is. What would you give me to just take the balance of the loan? You don't even have to sell off the full balance. You can sell off a portion of it. You can say, what would you give me for the next 5 years worth of payments? And that's called a partial. And we can work out terms on that. There's, and it's just wide open, but it's an opportunity for you to get a lump sum of cash today versus collecting those payments over time. Because that's what I'm after is those payments over time. So the question then is, why don't I just go out and do the thing where I buy the house and then I sell it on terms and I collect the payments? Honestly, it's more work. I don't want to do that. It's just, can I do it? Yeah. Have I done it? Yeah, of course. But I don't want to. I would rather have somebody do what I consider the hard work, do that, find the borrower, qualify them, do all that stuff. I will then come and pay you out, and then I can go and do whatever I want to do. So it's just a super lazy way of investing.
You're just dealing with one person instead of multiple people, and you're
Right.
just dealing with paper instead of the actual that physical asset and getting it clean and painted. You said something there about selling parcels and stuff. You guys listening, a lot of time you guys are going out there trying to find capital partners and raising
Yeah.
more capital for more deals and more deals. This is also a way of what Nathan just said there. You can sell parcels off, and this is what a lot of experienced investors that do this strategy, they
Mhm.
will go ahead and structure a note, sell some of that off so they get that money back, and they go out and do the next deal, and they rinse and repeat, and then they're also creating cash flow. But I just wanted, there's so many different ways of within seller financing once you
Yeah.
understand how to do this to make capital and cash flow. But anyways, I'm sorry about that, Nathan.
No, that's perfect. That's excellent. So, and then that begs the question. So, where do you find these guys that are give you money for your deal? That's the conference. That's where you go. That's why you go to these different conferences. So that comes full circle. That's why we do this.
And I've been to several seller financing note conferences. In
Yeah.
your conference, to me, I feel is the best high caliber people. People are not salesy. They're not trying to sell you stuff. Everybody's there to truly network and
Right.
educate and inform each other. In businesses, I can't tell you how many times we sat out there in the lobby and we're sitting there
Yeah.
doing business together and different things. I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole point that I took over this conference a few years ago. It had existed for 7 years before I took it over. And through actually two different owners, and they'd hosted it and they did different things. When I came in, I have been to a lot of conferences over the years. And I came in with the attitude of, for me personally, sitting in the audience, I really don't like it when they say, today only, the conference special, and run to the back of the room and secure your spot. I personally, I just really don't like that. And there's a place for it, and I totally get that. But I didn't want that being my conference. So the whole point of our conference is just come network with other people who are doing business, get to know each other so that you can start doing deals. Period. That's it. Learn what you need to learn and then meet the people you need to meet and then go do deals. We're not kind of trying to sell you anything. There's people there that have stuff for sale, of course, but come, learn, grow. That's the whole point.
Yep. It's a high caliber people. And like you said,
Yeah,
there's a lot of capital in that room, a lot
a
of
lot.
capital.
Yeah.
On both sides. It's like
Yes.
we're actually, I have my mastermind and we are just talking last night. One of my students actually, she hit it out of park. She learned seller financing and she actually just bought her second adult living facility through
Oh,
seller
nice.
financing. It's great.
Awesome.
And then, yeah. And she bought it for like 5.4 and the appraisal came in at 7.5. It's just like,
Oh,
she's
perfect.
like, oh, we need some capital. I'm like, well, you need to come out to Nashville and Nathan's event and,
Yeah.
just kind of network and talk because I'm sure there's people extremely interested, especially, the baby boomers moving that way. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
think she
Yeah.
lives in Hawaii, so she's going to probably fly all the way out
Oh,
just to go
perfect.
to it.
Yeah, that's the group that gets there is they're there looking for deals. They're looking for what's my next thing, whether that's a strategy or whether that's just looking for somebody to partner up with and start doing a deal with. That's
So
what we do.
besides that part of it, you also
Mhm.
have a lot of speakers that talk about a lot of different things besides
Yeah,
notes. Like I know the last few years, I one of the things I really enjoy is the Mortgage Bankers Association. Are you going to have them there this year again?
yeah,
So
yeah. We've decided like they're a mainstay. We got to have them come out because fantastic information and really great insights on what has been happening in the market and what they've been really good at their
head on,
predictions. Yeah,
dead on. Like every time, like they're talking about something before it even happened. Well, they see it
yeah,
happening already, but then before Main Street. And like every time they keep talking about something like the office
yeah,
space and the office world that was going on,
yeah.
like most people had no clue that our government was probably bailing out these offices
Hmm.
loans and stuff. But
Hmm.
it's just that's one of the big ones that I really like. Then also you've also had other attorneys there talking about different things with different happening with events coming down the
Yeah.
pipeline in the industry and just in general in business.
Yeah, yeah. People and we even have a panel where it's just attorneys on the panel and it's free advice for 45 minutes. So and it's just a free for all. You can ask your question about whatever, about a deal that you're doing, about yeah, what they see coming down the pipe, what they're dealing with. One of the ones that I like to talk to attorneys about is are they seeing more foreclosures or bankruptcies right now? And that's very interesting because it's a bankruptcy is a precursor to the foreclosures. And so it's really interesting to get their on the ground, what's happening today, not somebody's assessment of what's been happening or whatever, but like these are the people in the trenches and they are literally dealing with either the bankruptcies, the foreclosures, and what's that ratio look like? What are they dealing with? And that is an indication of what we can see coming down the pipe.
Nice. That's awesome. And then we even take it a step back for a step before it gets to the attorneys. There's a lot of loan servicing companies there
Yes.
as well, and
Yeah.
you get a lot of great information from those folks that you have at these events.
Yeah, same kind of thing. What's performance looking like? How many people are falling back, 30 days, 60 days late? They have all of that information in real time. It's not what's been reported through the news agencies and then they twist it to whatever fits their narrative. That's real time data that they're sharing. So it's extremely valuable.
And that's how we found out about the subject to default rate so high
Yeah,
right
that's
now,
right.
is because of
Yeah.
the assignments, because we're getting that information. Like, people are saying, how are you getting this? Loan servicing companies, they're servicing the loans, they get all this data, so,
Yeah.
and they share it. If you're in the industry and you're in the grind here, and you connect with the right people in this
Yeah.
world and this doors, you get to get this data, and it helps you to know where you're at in your investment journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we're super excited. We can't wait for this to come around. It's a ton of work to put it together, organize everything, and get all the speakers and everything else. But man, it's sure worth it. We sure have enjoyed just having everybody there, and it makes a difference. That was my post this morning, actually. Just like being the room matters. Like whether you're going to whatever. Last night we went to our kids' school parent association meeting. That's a particular kind of room, and you're going to have particular kinds of conversations versus something like this, where again, it's a particular kind of room. You'll have very different kind of conversations, even than you would in like a real estate investment association type of a room as well.
I have to tell you, after 2 to 3 days of it, when I come home, I'm exhausted because it's
Perfect.
so much information and connection. Like, you're kind of, your go, 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 but it's
Yeah.
great. But even then, no, I haven't even hit. I'd probably still miss 30% of the connections of people that I really wanted, maybe more than that,
Yeah.
at the event, you know?
Yeah. We've discussed a lot about like how many people we want to have there. Honestly, I don't want to have more than 300 people because then you miss out on those connections. It's harder to get around. Excuse me. Harder to get around and to meet everybody and to have those kind of connections come to pass. So it's a excuse me, relatively small group, uh, very experienced people there. I've always been so impressed with the makeup of the room. Where last year we even had a higher percentage of more experienced people there than years past, which I found very interesting. But it typically breaks down to about a third, a third, a third. So a third are like brand new, they've never heard of this before, but a third that are, relatively experienced, they've done some deals, they've had you know, some stuff under the belt. And then you've got the other third that are people that have been doing this years and, decades, and they've got multi-million dollar deals happening all the time. And it's just been very interesting to see how that mix is so evenly spread. So you've got the brand new person who's talking to the person who's been doing this for years and has millions of dollars worth of notes under the belt, and they have a great conversation. And it's not, well, come talk to me when you're worthy to
Everybody's there
talk
to
at the
help
event.
each other. That's the thing.
All
Everybody's there to
always,
help each other, network.
yeah,
Even those two people will network together,
all the time,
because,
yeah,
and it's just, and then you also have, like you said, millions of dollars, and some of these guys create funds. It's just
yeah,
mind blowing of different
yeah.
things, how you can progress of, doing real estate deals, learning how to do notes and progress and become a full-time note buyer and investor, if you will.
Hey, I'll mention that as well. And this is just a new thing that we figured out in the last few weeks. So you met there before crowdfunding lawyers, Nate Dodson and Richard Robinette. great guys, and they help you set up funds or they help you figure out how to raise money appropriately, legally, all those kinds of things. What we're doing this year that's actually very exciting is so our conference is May 1st and 2nd. They're doing a separate day on April 30th that is all just about raising capital and how to do that properly. And they'll get into the nitty-gritty details of it. Happening at the same hotel, just going to be in one of the rooms, one of the kind of the smaller rooms there. But that's going to be huge. They're charging $100 for it.
Wow.
So, and then if you get the ticket, their ticket plus ours, we'll keep it at the early bird, so that it doesn't cost you more if you end up buying in April or something. Which why would you? You should just buy that now. But that's just an additional thing that we're bringing in, so that there's tons of value. It's one of those topics like every one of us needs capital raising, and that's part of the deal. We always have to be raising capital. So that's why they talk about, we were talking to them, and we can do a 1 hour session, but man, that's just barely scratching the surface. So they're taking a whole day.
But people that have capital are going to go there because they want to deploy the capital and people looking for
Exactly.
capital. So it's going to be, that's great. That's good to
Yeah.
know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
That's
interesting.
brand new. We haven't even hardly started advertising that. So that's getting the word out on that.
Great. I mean, like you said, it's always that way.
Yeah.
So again, what are the dates? I know you just said it a second ago, the 30th, and then what?
Yeah. So our conference, May 1st and 2nd, if you want that, excuse me, if you want that capital raising, that's April 30th. Um, on my website, you can do either the ticket just for the DME, or you can do it for the DME plus the capital raising. We'll have both options there if you want to get in on that. So definitely, I mean, I know it sounds like a sales pitch because I'm the one running it, but I can't tell you how valuable attending conferences has been to my business over the years. That's the way that it's grown. Period. That's just the way that it happens.
We're going to put the link below, wherever you're watching and listening to this. But Nathan, once you explain, so people are driving right now, they can't
Yeah,
look down. Why don't you kind of tell them the website where they can go to?
sure. So it's diversifiedmortgageexpo.com. That's it.
Straightforward.
Yeah,
Okay.
Diversified Mortgage Expo. So that's the place to be. Like I say, I know it sounds like a sales pitch, but I can't overstate enough how valuable that's been to my career over the last 15 years.
And like I said, I've been to a lot of events, and compared to like going to local events or other even real estate events, like multifamily events, I've been to all these events, residential.
Mhm.
The Note conference event is high caliber people.
Yeah,
Everybody's done real estate deals in the past, but then it's another level of doing the Note.
right.
So that's kind of, so think of it, you're hanging out with graduates of like almost like law school degree, if you think about it,
Yeah,
almost like the Harvard type of level in the real estate game. And then because everybody's in a residential and kind of graduating, and it's just the caliber of people is
yeah,
just unbelievable.
yeah. We'll call it an associate degree.
There you go.
So we've already done the real estate. Now we've got the associate degree for the finance side of it. And it's just a perfect marriage.
All right, guys, thanks for listening. Again, we're going to go ahead and post the link below so you guys can get some more information. The hotels, all that stuff will be on Nathan's website.
Yeah.
And again, Nathan, what's your website one more time?
Yeah. Diversifiedmortgageexpo.com. I'm going to actually get you a link as well. Our early bird prices run out at the end of this month, at the end of March. But if you use Mark's link in the month of April, you'll still get that same deal. You'll still get the early bird pricing. So I'll get that link out to you so you can get that out to your people as well.
Right. I always like to pass the value on to everybody that's in the
Yeah.
network. So, all right, guys, thank you guys so much. And we will see you guys in Nashville in a couple months. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you, Nathan.